The next speaker who's coming up to grace the stage, President and CEO of Quest Business Agency. He served 5 years in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger, which those folks don't play. I've taken the whole boot camp thing. It's not good. And attained the rank as captain. He's currently representing True the Vote, an organization that is dedicated to bringing transparency and integrity to our voting process. Please welcome Alan Vera.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here among fellow patriots, but especially an honor to be here among fellow veterans. Whoa. And as one of just one of thousands of citizen volunteers, it's an honor to represent True the Vote at this important gathering. Let me start by asking a question. Are American patriots really awake, or are they just talking in their sleep? Are they really awake, or have they just learned to talk in their sleep? Blogging, attending rallies, calling talk radio are all wonderful forms of expression, sometimes inspirational. But by themselves, they're not going to return our country to its constitutional roots unless they spur citizens to action. Think about it. When Paul Revere rode through the countryside around Lexington and Concord, warning about the approaching British soldiers, the Minutemen did not dash for their quill pens and parchment and begin blogging about the injustices of King George. They were ordinary people like you and me, most of them farmers. They took immediate action, individually and collectively. And history was changed forever. Are American patriots really awake, or had they just learned to talk in their sleep? How many are really ready to take action to save the Republic? There are those in this country who look down their noses and laugh at gatherings like this.
Because tax-paying citizens are gathered to express their wishes and preferences. And these same people also look down their noses at our election system because they believe with Joseph Stalin that it doesn't matter who shows up to vote. All that matters is who counts the vote. Because of people like these, the integrity of our election process, the principle of one person, one vote, is under attack as at no other time in our history. There is evil afoot. There is a concerted effort underway to thwart the will of the voters and to rig elections to further political and personal agendas. You've no doubt become increasingly aware that sometimes of reported and prosecuted cases of election fraud. Listen to me. I will tell you right now without fear of contradiction.
This year, we'll see the greatest attack ever on election integrity. And we know exactly how it's coming. Number one, they will flood and try to overwhelm county voter registrars with phony and fraudulent voter registrations. Two, they'll manipulate mailed and absentee ballots to both inflate votes for their side and to deny you the right to vote. Do not say, I didn't tell you, when you show up to vote next November and are told that your county records show you already voted by mail and you can't vote today, except provisionally. Three, they'll follow Joseph Stalin's lead by attempting to hack into electronic voting machines to influence the county and influence the results. And four, they'll again attack our polling places with millions of paid agents who will attempt to vote as many times as they can in as many precincts, wards, and counties as they can reach on Election Day. To quote David Horowitz, they will tell any lie and break any law to further their agenda. Those who would deliberately undermine the integrity of our elections are evil. And they are the agents of evil powers and principalities. And hear me, those in high office, elected or appointed, who willingly subvert the integrity of our elections under the pretense of protecting a special interest group are not only evil, they are the enemies of our Constitution. The domestic enemies of our Constitution. 42 years ago this May, I stood in the uniform of a freshly commissioned U.S. Army second lieutenant, and I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, so help me God. All the veterans here today took that oath. And many of us have met the foreign enemies of this republic. I think it's time for us to step up and take on the domestic enemies of our Constitution. I can hear the black helicopters now. That's why I spend every moment that I'm not at my waking job working for True the Vote. Okay? True the Vote is a nonpartisan, citizen-led initiative to ensure election integrity. And over the years, we have developed, tested, refined, and continue to perfect tools, methods, and processes that will offset every one of those election fraud issues I just mentioned. We've created a very powerful software program to help identify fraudulent voter registration and to get them kicked out before the elections. This past summer, for example, before the state Senate recall elections in Wisconsin, we found and kicked out 31,000 dead people still on the voting rolls in Wisconsin. 31,000. Okay? In 2010, our investigations of fraudulent voter registrations here in Harris County led to the shutdown of a very shadowy voter registration organization called, how nice, Houston Votes, led by a former official of SEIU. And 36 hours later, a mysterious fire burned up all of our voting machines. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. We can stop phony voter registrations, but we need more patriots in every county and every state to carry on that work. We can stop fraudulent mail ballots, but we need more patriots in every county and every state to carry on that work. We have a growing team of IT experts standing by to detect and stop election computer hacking, but we need more IT experts in every county and every state. And I will guarantee you we have severely crippled voting fraud at the polls at every precinct or ward to which we've sent our trained poll watchers and observers to ensure compliance with election code. But we need more patriots at the polls in every county and every state. It's been my privilege to be at True the Vote from the very beginning. It wasn't pretty. And I've been involved in every aspect of our programs. But for 2012, they've severely narrowed my responsibilities. My only job this year is to recruit and train 1 million poll watchers for the general election in 2012. Okay. But as a former Army Airborne Ranger, I welcome this challenge. It is closest to my heart. Think about it. Do the math. Why? Add up all the precincts and wards in every county and every state. Multiply that times all the election officials and poll workers, the uneducated poll workers, untrained poll workers in every county and every state. Multiply that times the number of voters who will show up at each location. Mathematically, the polling place is still the venue with the greatest potential for voting fraud. There's only one way to stop fraud at that grassroots level. On every election day from here on, across this great country, patriot men and women are going to wake up in the wee hours, long before the roosters even think about crowing. They'll put on the armor of God's protection. They'll strap on the shield of discipline and training and knowledge. They will firmly grasp the sword of truth and the election law. They'll leave their familiar homes and neighborhoods and deploy to polling places and locations where I guarantee you they are not welcomed. They will stand face to face with evil and ignorance, and they will secure election integrity with the full authority of the one true God whose Holy Spirit guided and led our founding fathers. Like most wars through history, the war to restore election integrity must be won on the ground. It's a ground war. Polling place by polling place, county by county, state by state. It's a ground war. We need each of you to be part of True the Vote. We need you to get all your patriot friends to be part of True the Vote. In 2012, we need a patriot army to stand shoulder to shoulder on the wall of freedom and shout defiantly to those dark powers and principalities, if you want to steal this election, you have to get past us. We will not yield another inch to your demonic deception. There'll be no more backing down. There'll be no more compromise. If you won't enforce our laws, we'll do it ourselves, so help us God. Here come the helicopters. Please go to www.truethevote.org and help whatever way God leads you to serve. If God's blessed you with good health at this part of your life, join me on the front lines at the polling places. If your strength and mobility are limited, there's many ways you can help from the phone and computer at your home. Send all your friends to www.truethevote.org. We also have a booth in this event. You can come by and ask more questions if you want. But please, don't wait until spring or summer to sign up. There's training involved, and you could probably benefit from some scrimmages during the preseason primaries. Folks, we can do it. But we can only do it together, and only if we take action together. I assure you, I'm not Paul Revere, but I am sounding a warning. Listen to me. Massive election fraud is coming. Massive election fraud is coming. Do you think the $1 billion are for TV commercials? I won't yell to arms, but I will yell, true the vote, true the vote. Are American voters, are American patriots really awake, or have they just learned to talk in their sleep? Edmund Burke said, nobody made a greater mistake than he who did nothing because he could only do a little. Please don't underestimate the importance of your contribution. Let me close with a few related thoughts for your consideration. This is a time of challenge. It's a time of trial. But this is not a time for fear. Because together, we are the sword of God's truth. We are the razor-sharp point of His unbreakable spear. Even now, archangels are gathering around those of us called to carry the fight to the human agents of dark powers and principalities. Even now, cherubim and seraphim are gathering around those of us who will truly carry the day by constant prayer and praise. Prayer warriors. But the time is close. The enemy's main force is near the gate, and his agents are already inside the walls. Please, commit to do one or both of the following. Go to your knees in prayer and praise, or get into your armor for the fight ahead. Winston Churchill said, there comes a time, a moment in every person's life, a moment for which that person was born. That special opportunity, when he seizes it, will fulfill his mission, a mission for which he is uniquely qualified. In that moment, he finds greatness. It is his finest hour. Like it or not, each of you has been handpicked by God to be alive in this country at this critical point in our history. Each of you has been chosen for a mission which is critical to the futures of your children and grandchildren. And though it may seem to be a time of turmoil, trial, and danger, this could well be your finest hour. This could be the moment for which you were born. My friends, elections are the primary constitutional channel to which we the people influence the decisions of local, state, and federal government. But the elections do not belong to the government. Elections do not belong to the parties, red or blue. Elections do not belong to the unions, no matter how well funded they are. Elections belong to the American people. We can't take back our country until we take back our elections. And it's time for you and I to saddle up and take action. It's time for you and I to take back the elections. I won't ask you to stand and take an oath as I did years ago, but right now in your hearts, please resolve the following. I will do something now to protect the integrity of our elections. I will do something now to help true the vote. And like the men and women of old, I'll immediately take any and all appropriate and necessary action to preserve this great republic, so help me God. The last words I'll leave with you today are also the last words spoken on 9/11/01 by an ordinary person like us, an average citizen who in a time of crisis took action and became a modern-day Minuteman. Todd Beamer. Let's roll. Patriots, let's roll.